Let me begin by wishing Ramadan Kareem to all who observe it. This year, the holy month comes as Syria marks 13 years of conflict with yet more civilian deaths and injuries, most notably in northern Syria, and mounting humanitarian needs across the country. More than 7 million people remain displaced from their homes, and more than half the population, nearly 13 million people, need food assistance. Acute malnutrition among children under the age of 5 has surged threefold in the past 5 years. As a result, more than 500,000 children will need life-saving treatment for acute malnutrition this year. More people need humanitarian aid in Syria now than at any point in the crisis, and yet funding for our humanitarian appeal has fallen to a record low. Mr. President, as families across Syria celebrate Mother's Day today, we are reminded that throughout the country, women and girls continue to grapple with some of the worst impacts of the humanitarian crisis. Our colleagues in Syria recently met with several women who were marking the start of Ramadan in Aleppo. Hannah, a mother of 5, who also now cares for 5 orphaned grandchildren, said that it has been almost a year since her family had meat or cheese. She is constantly worried about sending her grandchildren to school with empty stomachs. Another, Maha, said she is often forced to make painful choices, such as between basic food and medicine for her children. And in Idlib, Ahmed, a mother of 12 boys and girls, told our colleagues that she has been living in a tent since being displaced from her home 5 years ago. She spends her days with her children at a landfill looking for materials to sell to buy food. She's not able to cook for her family this Ramadan because she's not receiving any food baskets. Mr. President, despite the enormous needs, the ability of the humanitarian community to provide assistance is severely limited. As we noted last month, our annual humanitarian appeal for 2023 received less than 40% of the required funding. The consequences are devastating. The World Food Programme has been compelled to reduce its emergency food assistance from 3 million to 1 million people per month. WFP is now only able to reach a third of the most severely food insecure. In the Northwest, over 30 outpatient therapeutic feeding programs for malnourished children have been forced to close since October. Over 75 nutrition rapid response teams, about half the total, have also suspended operations. Meanwhile, food prices and the cost of living continue to climb to record highs. In the past year, the cost of a household's minimum expenditure basket has doubled, with the food prices increasing by more than 140%. Prices for some key items, such as chickpeas and potatoes, have risen by more than 200%. The minimum wage now covers only 11% of basic food needs. Vital health services are also being reduced, and the prices of medicine have surged 200% in the space of 2 years. In northwest Syria, 49 health facilities had partially or fully suspended their operations by the end of last year. Without additional funding, many more expected to follow by the end of this month. In the Northeast, WHO's referral services for people needing more advanced health support will be suspended at the end of this month. These services have supported 8,000 to 10,000 patients per year, 70% of them women. Mr. President, we're doing what we can to bridge the gap. Last month, the UN allocated $20 million to Syria through the Central Emergency Response Fund's underfunded emergencies window. But far more is needed in order to meet such massive levels of need and avert even more painful cuts in vital support. The scarcity of resources only reinforces how critical it is to deliver aid through all available routes. For the 4.2 million people in need in northwest Syria, the cross-border response from Türkiye continues to play an indispensable role. It allows us to deliver life-saving relief, provide essential protection, health and education services, and conduct regular assessment and monitoring missions to Idlib and northern Aleppo. The expansion of crossline deliveries throughout Syria, including to the northwest, remains a top priority. Mr. President, our appeals are familiar. As the Secretary General emphasized in his recent statement marking the 13th year of the crisis, we need respect for international humanitarian law. This includes the protection of civilians and civilian infrastructure. We need sustained and unhindered humanitarian access through all modalities, and we urgently need the necessary funding to sustain life-saving assistance and expand early recovery. Once again, we call for renewed and genuine commitment to a political solution to end the conflict, in the hope that next year, the people of Syria will have a peaceful Ramadan with fewer impossible choices to make. Thank you.